What's up, fam? It's me. And I just want to come to y'all and bring y'all what I think is some breaking news. Because I haven't heard anybody talk about this, at least not anybody on YouTube or anybody in the black media yet. So I just wanted to bring it to you because I just ran across this story and I thought it was real interesting. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everybody's being smart. I hope everybody's paying attention. I hope you're sharing. I hope you're having these conversations. And I hope everybody is prepared for the bullshit because the bullshit is on. I just want to mention this right quick. As you know, they are saying mainstream media is reporting that President Trump now all of a sudden has COVID-19. Him and the first lady, all of a sudden, same president we just saw in the debate a couple of days ago. Now all of a sudden he has COVID and supposedly, he's on Remdesivir or whatever. But anyway, I don't know whether I really believe it or not. I mean, now it may just be me, but I take everything that that mainstream media says with a grain of salt. Of course, it's very possible because the coronavirus is real. We do know that the coronavirus is real. We also know that the numbers have been padded and that there's been a whole lot of bullshit surrounding it and a whole bunch of lies and all of that. But whether or not Trump actually has COVID-19, I'm just not. I'm just not quite sure that I'm buying that just yet. I'm gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to that. I'm gonna have to hear a little bit more. This just sounds like a ploy to me. It sounds like a ploy to me to prove that certain medications or a certain regimen of medications or whatever that it works. I'm sorry. Anyway. But anyway, let's get to what I want to talk to y'all about because I just got off work not too long ago. I'm tired and I got to be at work at 9:30 in the morning. So let's get to this and let's get to this quick. I'm reading this from the New York Times. Let me maximize because I like to maximize. Let me maximize. As y'all can tell, I just got off. I'm wired up. This is from Louis Farrar Sidoni and Jesse McKinley, and this was yesterday, October the 2nd, 2020. Well, actually, it was actually Friday. And this is the headline. Rochester mayor is indicted, throwing city into further turmoil. So yes. She's a black woman. Black Mayor Lovely Warren has been indicted. Now, this is the same mayor of Rochester that, after the death of Daniel Prude, and Daniel Prude is the young man that they said, had mental issues and he was running down the street naked and all that, and police got him. And they say he was spitting or something like that. And they put a hood over his head and pressed his head down into the ground until he suffocated. He had to be resuscitated at the hospital. When they got him to the hospital, he had to be resuscitated and he died a week later. So the police actually suffocated this man to death. Well, anyway, after the protest and all of that, they were demanding that she resign. And they were also demanding that the Rochester, New York police chief, I think his name is LaRon Singletary. They were demanding that those two resign. And Warren had said, and Warren came out, and this was earlier in September. Warren came out, Lovely Warren, the mayor, came out, and she said that she was not going to resign, and she came out showing her support for the police chief, who later on did resign. He did step down. And she was the one that Jason Black did this. He did a broadcast about her because she wanted to introduce everybody to this Reverend Myra Brown of the Spiritus Christi Church in Rochester. And this Myra Brown was the one that had come up with this idea of using church elders as buffers between the police and the protesters at further demonstrations. I don't know whether y'all remember that or not, but Jason did a whole broadcast on this. Because when she came out and she did her press conference, when Mayor Lovely Warren came out and did her press conference, that's who she wanted to introduce everybody to, talking about they had sat down and they had discussed ways to kind of try to help out the situation between the police and the protesters and all of that. And that's what this Maya Brown came up with. That was her plan, was that she said that 50 church elders would try and serve as buffers between police and protesters at future demonstrations. So basically, they were going to use these old folks, these old church elders were willing to sacrifice their lives and say they're going to go out and be buffers, like the police were all of a sudden going to have some kind of respect for them, when we saw clearly during the protest in Buffalo, New York, how those white police officers didn't have any respect for one of their own white elders. Remember that 75-year-old man that they just shoved down, and he hit his head and cracked his skull, his head open, and blood was coming all out of his ears, and everybody was wondering whether he was dead or not. And they just walked on by him like he was nothing. When one officer looked like he was going to stop and maybe see if the man was all right, the officer beside him pushed him and told him to go head on. So if they didn't have any respect for their elders, what made anybody think that that the police were going to have respect for our elders? But anyway, that's all the foolishness that this Mayor Lovely Warren was talking about because of the protests that had risen up because of the death of Daniel Prude, right? Now, here we are a few weeks later, 2-3 weeks later. Here we are, and she has now been indicted. Mayor Lovely Warren has been indicted. So just listen to this. Mayor Lovely Warren was charged with 2 campaign finance violations, adding to the city's political chaos in the aftermath of Daniel Prude's death. Lovely Warren, the Rochester, New York mayor, whose leadership has come under fire after her administration mishandled the death of a black man who had been placed in a hood by the police, was indicted on Friday on 2 unrelated felony campaign finance charges. So over there in Kentucky, we can't get a grand jury to indict 3 police officers who broke into somebody's house. You understand what I'm saying? In the middle of the night and filled her body with 6 to 8 bullets. While she was just waking up out of sleep. We can't get them indicted. You understand what I'm saying? We can't get those 3 white police officers indicted, not for murder. We could only get one of them indicted for wanton endangerment, and that was for shooting in the white neighbor's apartment. That didn't even have anything to do with shooting into Breonna Taylor's apartment. So, but we couldn't get them indicted on murder. Remember, we have now found out that the Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Prude didn't even put that option on the table for that grand jury. But all of a sudden, we can get this black mayor indicted on campaign finance charges. Felony campaign finance charges. The 2-page indictment charges Ms. Warren, a Democrat, and 2 associates with 2 campaign finance violations related to when she was running for a second term in 2017. Sandra Doyley, the Monroe County District Attorney, said Ms. Warren participated in a scheme to defraud related to her official campaign fund and a political action committee working to help her get reelected. The indictment accused Ms. Warren, as well as her campaign treasurer and Rochester's finance director, of knowingly and willfully working to evade contribution limits, as well as engaging in a systematic and ongoing course of conduct with the intent to defraud more than one person. So this was during her campaign for re-election as mayor. She was running this scheme to defraud, and so they got her for her and the campaign treasurer and the Rochester finance director. They got all of them for campaign, I guess, for campaign finance fraud, and she got indicted. Now, with all of this collusion that they talked about Trump was doing, all of this stuff that they talking about, Joe Biden's son was over there in the Ukraine making all of this money and working all of these deals, you know what I'm saying? And all of these big rich white folks in government and all of that, and Steve Mnuchin. Now, you got to remember, Kamala Harris had an opportunity to indict and bring charges against Steve Mnuchin in California for some mess that he had got into. She refused to do it. So we can't never seem to get folks in the dominant society indicted. We certainly can't get them indicted for any harm that they do to black people. We certainly can't get them indicted for police brutality, beating black folks, killing black folks, murdering black folks in the street, now going in their homes, in the sanctity of their homes and murdering them. We can't get nobody indicted. But now all of a sudden, this black mayor, it's easy to indict her in the midst of everything else that's going on in Rochester, in the midst of all the protests, in the midst of so-called Letitia James. Letitia James is the Attorney General in New York. Letitia James, New York's Attorney General, whose office had been quietly investigating Mr. Prude's death, investigating Mr. Prude's death since mid-April, announced last month that she would set up a grand jury to consider evidence. So I'm assuming that's evidence in the Daniel Prude case. So, with all of this going on, with Eric Garner, Pantaleo, we couldn't get him indicted. Mike Brown, we couldn't get nobody indicted. You understand what I'm saying? Trayvon Martin, we couldn't get Zimmerman found guilty. With Breonna Taylor, we couldn't get nobody indicted. Sandra Bland, we couldn't get nobody indicted. Matrice Richardson's death is still out there and unexplained. We can't even get no evidence and get nobody. And Kamala Harris could have done something about that. But it's just so easy to come up with a grand jury to indict this black mayor of finance, with all this going on, with all of this killing and all of this murdering of unarmed black people and going in black folks' homes and all of this. And they can't get no indictments to stick, and they can't seem to bring no charges against the white police officers. Okay, because if you want to make it seem like it's impossible or it's hard to indict these people because they're supposed to be public workers, or they're supposed to be in public service, or whatever the case may be. Okay, well, this is the mayor. We can't get nobody to investigate the prosecutor, the DA, Thomas Wine, for all of that mess that he had going on in the Breonna Taylor case. We can't get nobody to investigate him for trying to get Jamarcus Glover to slander Breonna and try to act like Breonna was involved in some kind of drug ring or whatever. We can't get nothing done. But mighty funny, a grand jury just didn't seem to have any problem whatsoever indicting this black woman, this black mayor, of finance fraud. This is not political, said Miss Doyley, a Republican. We assert by this indictment that this is allegedly a scheme to defraud. The mayor is scheduled to be arraigned on Monday afternoon along with her co-defendants, Albert Jones Jr., the campaign treasurer, and Rosalind Brooks Harris, the finance director. I guarantee you all of them are black too. In remarks on Friday, Mr. D'Amelio, the lawyer for Mr. Warren, suggested that the recent unrest in Rochester, including protesters calling for Ms. Warren's resignation, may have made grand jurors more likely to bring charges against her. That's something we were aware of, something we were concerned about, he said. Ms. Warren has previously blamed any irregularities in her campaign finances on poor bookkeeping. Ms. Doyley saw it differently. The indictment alleges that this was not a mistake. So, Ms. Warren, first elected in 2013, is the first female and second African-American mayor of Rochester, a city of about 200,000 people in western New York. She would be removed from office if she was convicted of the felony. The investigation into her campaign finances has dogged her since two candidates who unsuccessfully ran against her in 2017 complained to the State Board of Elections. A subsequent investigation by the board led to a March report that Ms. Doyley said found considerable evidence of possible crimes. At issues are transfers made from Ms. Warren's Political Action Committee, that's her PAC, to her campaign committee that far exceed the $8,557 limit that a campaign could receive from an individual donor. The Democrat and Chronicle of Rochester reported that limit also applied to the Political Action Committee. Ms. Warren, 43, whose term ends next year, has strongly denied any wrongdoing, describing the transfers as unintentional errors and dismissing the investigation as a political witch hunt. So with all this going on in Rochester, we ain't heard nothing about the police being indicted. We ain't heard nothing about the police being charged. We ain't heard nothing about that. But with all this going on with Rochester, and all has been happening in Rochester, New York, since the death of Daniel Prude, the one person that they could find enough evidence to take to before the grand jury and indict was the black male. The black male. Body cam evidence showing that they put the hood over this man's head, and that one police officer. Let me read this part to you. Hold on, because I'm gonna have both of these articles linked in the description box. Prude's death is under investigation by the New York State Attorney General, and last week Warren placed 7 officers who were at the scene of that incident involving Daniel Prude on administrative leave with pay. So see, this is what the mayor did. Now the mayor had the ability, she had the authority to go ahead on and at least fire him. But she put him on administrative leave. See, another one of these black women, another one of these black bootlicks that's going to go along with the system and work with the system to protect these race soldiers. Now, this article was September the 6th. So it ain't even been a month yet. You understand what I'm saying? 7 officers involved instead of Mayor Lovely Warren firing them, especially after the police, after the body cam came and showed that they put this hood on this man's head, and that one officer is seen actually putting what it looked like his full weight on this man's head, suffocating this man. He got to be resuscitated at the hospital and then dies a week later. Instead of her at least firing him, she puts all 7 on them on administrative leave with pay. So that's basically on a she sent them on a vacation. What has Professor Black Truth always told us? White supremacy breaks its tools. And then the best thing that she could come up with was to get hooked up with this Reverend Myra Brown. You know how they always, they always send you to the church. You understand what I'm saying? Always send these bootlicks to the church. You understand? And want the pastors and the church folks to come out. Well, she hooks up with this Myra Brown from this Spiritist Christian church, and they get to talking about using the elders of the church as a buffer between the police and the protesters. Mayor Warren discusses ongoing community reaction to the death of Daniel Prude. To clarify, the term elder is referring to respected community leaders and not necessarily senior citizens. So what community leaders? More black preachers, more pork chop preachers, more of the civil rights generation that's going to go along with white supremacy and aid and abet white supremacy. See, this is what Lovely Warren, Mayor Lovely Warren had going on just less than a month ago. Now, all of a sudden, she facing felony finance fraud charges. But let's go back to, it's a specific, I want to read this to you. Hold on. The grand jury indictment, that's the indictment of Mayor Lovely Warren. Because like I said, we can't seem to get these race soldiers charged and indicted no matter how much evidence is against them. The grand jury indictment adds yet another layer of crisis to a city in turmoil ever since the death of Daniel Prude became public, with protesters taking to the streets over another death of a black person because of an encounter with the police. Mr. Prude died in March of suffocation after his arrest by Rochester police officers, but his death did not become public until his family obtained and released body cam footage in the incident in September. The footage showed officers placing a hood over Mr. Pruitt's head after he was apparently spitting and claiming he had the coronavirus, with one officer using much of his weight to push down on the prone man's head. Mr. Prude had to be resuscitated and died a week later at the hospital. But you ain't heard nothing about no indictment, no charges, or nothing like that in that case. Instead, who gets charged? The mayor. The same mayor who sent all 7 of those officers involved, all 7 of the officers on the scene, sent them on vacation with pay. Sent them on vacation with pay. The footage was quickly followed by revelations that city officials stopped the body cam footage from becoming public. The subsequent scandal and accusations of a cover-up led the Rochester police chief to step down and escalated calls for Ms. Warren to resign. So them white folks saw the perfect opportunity, saw the perfect way to get rid of her. They had got rid of the black police chief, and they saw the perfect way to get rid of her. Even though she was down with the program, even though she was helping the system out, even though she was being what they had put her there to be, the black nanny, going along with the police. No, we can't punish the police. You understand what I'm saying? We can't fire them. We can't punish them. We can't do them no harm. We're going to send them on administrative leave with pay. And then we're going to reach out to the community leaders, quote unquote, and get us some community leaders and some seniors in here and some elders in here to act as buffers between the police and the protesters. I'm telling you, y'all, Tariq calls it Ogun. I call it the Most High God. Some folks call it the Creator, but some people call it the universe. but whatever you want to call it. As Malcolm X could say, looks to me like the chickens are coming home to roost. That might be what's going on with Trump. The chickens coming home to roost. You can't keep on oppressing people. You can't keep on killing people with impunity. You can't keep on treating folks like black folks are being treated in America and have always been. You can't keep on year after year, century after century. You can't keep on. Karma is real. And these black bootlicks are feeling the hand of karma just as well as their white paymasters. So I just wanted to bring y'all this information. I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on. But yes, Mayor Lovely Warren of Rochester, New York, has been indicted for campaign finance violations. Now, see, maybe she just went on and done what she was supposed to do as far as those police officers were concerned and went on and fired them instead of trying to help the city and trying to help everybody else cover up the body cam footage and cover up what had happened. You understand what I'm saying? Then maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't have went this way for her. And if it did go for this way for her, at least she wouldn't have had to go down by herself. But this is what it looks like when the tools of white supremacy, the black tools of white supremacy, the black bootlicks and the black bed wenches and the mammies and the black puppets of and the black faces of white supremacy, this is what it looks like when those tools start getting broken. So let's see who's gonna be next. Let's see who's gonna be next. She gave them she gave them the ammunition to use against her, and they're using it. So let's see how much longer Daniel Cameron is going to be able to stand with all the ammunition that's coming out against him. Let's see how much longer he's going to be able to stand. And again, just to drive home the point, for all of you black folks out there that's still walking around with this mind block, talking about Biden, you know, and talking about the Democrats and still talking about, well, we just got to get rid of Trump. We just got to get Trump out of there. We're going to vote for the Democrats and all that. Remember, just like we've been telling you, Jason's been saying it, Tariq's been saying it, Professor Black Truth's been saying it, and so many others have been saying it. All of these murders of unarmed, innocent black people are happening in Democrat-run cities and states. Mayor Lovely Warren is a Democrat, a black Democrat. New York is just Democrat, period. Kentucky, you got a Democratic mayor. You understand what I'm saying? Thomas Wine, the state prosecutor, the county prosecutor, Democrat. The governor of Kentucky, Democrat. But you don't see any of these Democrats saying, okay, we got to do something. Okay, this is getting out of hand. Okay, we got to do something about these folks. All of these black folks getting killed in Democrat-run cities and states. Daniel Cameron is a Republican. We already know. The proof is already out there that he has lied over and over and over and over and over again. But do you hear any Democrats saying, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, there needs to be an independent investigation. Wait a minute, we need to go in. You see what I'm saying? They swear all out that Democrats and Republicans now, because of Trump, just can't agree on nothing. They can't meet in the middle about nothing. They can't seem to get anything done because they can't agree with each other. But it's mighty funny. They don't have a problem agreeing with each other when it comes to bringing charges against and indicting and making sure that these race soldiers who kill black people, unarmed, innocent black people, just slaughter them. It's mighty funny. They don't have a problem agreeing with that, because you don't hear any Democrats speaking up and saying, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. We got to see what's going on. It's Democrats. These mayors are Democrats. It's Democrats. Democratic mayors working with the city prosecutors and the county prosecutors and the state prosecutors all across party lines to cover these things up and to try to keep certain information from becoming public. They working in cahoots with each other when it comes to the killing of black folks, when it comes to these white supremacist race soldiers killing black folks. When it comes to protecting law enforcement, the creation of white supremacy. But you dumb black folks still running around talking about Democrats, Democrats, Democrats. And black folks are just being killed, just being slaughtered. In places where Democrats are in power. And in a lot of places, black Democrats are in power. So I just wanted to bring y'all this story right quick. I just wanted to let you know that just this quick, because like I said, it was just back in the 1st of September when Jason did a broadcast about Mayor Lovely Warren and this Reverend Myra Brown from the Spiritus Christi Church and all of that. And just this quick, in less than a month, they have brought down an indictment for 2 counts, 2 felony counts of campaign finance violations, which is basically campaign finance fraud. That's how easy it is to get a public official, you understand what I'm saying? Or get a public servant or a civil servant. That's how easy it is to get them indicted when you really want to get them indicted. That's how easy it is to present the right information and the right evidence to a grand jury to get a public service worker or civil service person or whatever indicted when you want to get them indicted. So if it's that easy to get a mayor indicted, why is it so hard to get a police officer indicted? Because they don't want them indicted. That's why. They don't want to punish them. White supremacy is not going to punish law enforcement for doing what law enforcement was created to do. And that's police the black populace. So these 2 articles will be listed in the description box. So y'all can go read these 2 articles and there, I'm sure there are other articles out there about this, but I got this one from the New York Times. And the other one about her resigning comes from XXI News. So like I said, I have both of these in the description box. And I just thought it was very interesting, and it proves again what we have been taught, and that is that white supremacy always breaks its toe. It waits for that right moment. But when that moment comes, now I don't know exactly what she did to piss somebody off, because she was going along with the program. But see, that's just it. White supremacy don't care nothing about you going along with the program. White supremacy don't care nothing about you being on code with them and not being on code with your own people. White supremacy don't care nothing about you being willing to sell your people out to them. That's the reason why eventually they break you. It's because they realize if you have no loyalty for your own people, they certainly ain't going to trust you. You've proven that you're not loyal. You've proven that not only do you hate your people, but you hate yourself. You've proven that you can't even be loyal and true to yourself. Because if you could be loyal and true to yourself, you wouldn't be allowing yourself to be used as a servant of white supremacy. That's the reason why they break them. They don't like you. They don't have any respect for you because you can be bought and because you sell out. That's not making them like you. That's not making them respect you. That's not making them accept you. They'll use you, yes. But once your usefulness has run out and you no longer have the ability to have any real influence among the black community, then that's when they break you. They get rid of you. So I just wanted to bring y'all this story, let y'all know what was going on in Rochester, New York. Let y'all know that no, we ain't heard nothing about no police being charged. We ain't heard about nothing about no police being indicted or nothing like that. Letitia James still up there talking about she doing a quiet investigation of Daniel Prude's death. You understand what I'm saying? But we hear about Mayor Lovely Warren being indicted. So y'all make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you share it. Make sure that you have these conversations, because you know it's all about having these conversations, sharing this information, getting this information out there so that we can try to open up some eyes and get some folk woke and aware. Get down in that description box, read these articles, read other articles on this subject if you want to. But you know, but please have these conversations. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we upload videos. And I'm trying my best to get to that KKK video that I want to do for y'all and give y'all the background and the history of the KKK and all of that, and bring all of this stuff together and tie it all in together. But it's so much other stuff keep popping up until I can't get a chance to sit down and really work on it and bring it all together. But it's coming. It's coming. So y'all get on code, stay on code. You understand what I'm saying? Understand. As Tariq has said over and over and over again, being a bootlick and being a coon does not have a retirement plan. So now this woman is facing felony charges. You understand what I'm saying? So not only will she be humiliated, embarrassed, you understand, discredited, removed from office and all of that, but there's a possibility that she might actually end up doing a year or two in jail. Who knows? But this is how easy it is now to get an indictment if you really want one. So y'all get on code, stay on code, and understand, when we're dealing with the Democrats and the Republicans, we're dealing with, like we've all said over and over and over again, two wings of the same bird. Two wings of the same bird. And until we do what we need to do to cripple, to break one wing of that bird, the wing that we have the ability to break, until we do that, that white supremacist bird will keep on flying high. Keep on flying high. Y'all have a good morning.